Hearing a lot, meanwhile, about the big push for electric cars and how Volvo plans to have its Ford, GM also beefing up their commitment to this. So it's not just Tesla's world and not just this next gentleman's world, although he is giving Tesla a scare with some cars that are getting noticed and getting notoriety. Peter Rawlinson is the Lucid Motors CEO and Chief Technology Officer there. Peter, very good to have you back. Thank you for coming.
Good morning, Neil.
How are things looking on your front? Everyone seems to say that now that some of the big companies, the establishment car companies are saying we're going this route too, that it's going to pressure guys like you and pressure even the Elon Musks. What do you say to them?
Well, they've been saying that for years, haven't they? There's going to be a big push from the traditional car companies that are going to pressurize Tesla. Tesla's years ahead of them. They're in a preeminent position. And, you know, only this week, Jaguar announced that they've cancelled their electric XJ program. Quickly, are they?
No, that's a very good point. Could I ask you this, though, Peter? Not everyone's on the same page or the standard that for these vehicles. I liken it. I'm old enough to remember the battle between Beta and VHS in the late 70s, early 80s, where they couldn't agree on a standard. And I'm wondering if that's the problem with proprietary technology for battery charging stations and the rest, that we could have a variety of formats out there. Where is that going?
Well, that's a very interesting point, Neil. We've partnered, Lucid Motors has partnered with Electrify America to access its 1,000-volt charging infrastructure, which is growing rapidly. And we're on the open standard, the CCS combo standard, which is the open standard for the USA. We share that with so many other automakers. And it's a very interesting point, actually, because I applaud Tesla for rolling out their fast charging network, their supercharge network. But in a sense, that is almost an isolated network because it's a 400-volt system, and we know that the cars of the future are going to be ultra high voltage. Lucid Air behind me, and I'm here in our Beverly Hills studios, is we're launching at over 900 volts. The next generation electric cars are going to be 900 volts. So, with a supercharged network from Tesla at 400 volts, it's going to be an interesting future.
Where are we on charging? It takes a long time to charge a typical battery, depending on the vehicle maker. I'm not quite sure yours. But if we sped that up, leaving aside the more mileage you get on the charge these days, that could be a big game changer as well, right?
Absolutely, and that's a function of many things. It's a function of cell chemistry, it's a function of the voltage architecture of the vehicle, but it's also, surprisingly, a function of miles I can go per kilowatt hour. Because what really matters to the customer is the speed in terms of how many miles of charge I can accrue for a given stop time, not the amount of energy that's going into the car. And because Lucid Air is extraordinarily efficient, we can get nearly 300 miles charge in 20 minutes, which is quite extraordinary. The other thing is we have an onboard charger for level 2 charging at home rated at 19.2 kilowatts, and that gives us close to 90 miles charge per hour at peak conditions at a home charging station. This is a game changer.
It is, to put it mildly. That's amazing, because that does open it up to a wider group of people who might be doubters right now. We'll see where all this goes. Peter, very good catching up with you. Peter Rawlinson, Lucid Motors CEO, Chief Technology Officer. They are beautiful vehicles to look at. So that is part of the game-changing developments going on.
My YouTube analytics shows that over 75% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel yet. So please press on the red juicy subscribe button and smash the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload a new video.
So you built this factory in Arizona from the ground up in less than a year. How challenging was that to do in a pandemic, no less?
It presented many challenges, but I've got a hugely professional team on the manufacturing side. We were able to plan this very thoroughly from the ground up. And we've planned it in phases. What you see is just phase one of the plant, which was constructed in under a year. That phase one is good for 30,000 units a year. But we have over 500 acres of land secured there, and we can take this to over 400,000 units a year in a number of years' time.
So let's talk about supply then. How many pre-orders do you have versus how many cars you believe you are able to make each year?
We are very blessed. We have a bulging order book. We have many, many thousands of pre-orders. And the bulk of those have got very significant deposits associated to them. So they're very real pre-orders. We're going to build up production in a very progressive manner, starting with really focus upon quality. We're not going to churn out numbers of these cars to start with. Get the quality right and just gradually ramp up the volume until we can hit about 30,000 plus units per year at that phase one stage of the plant.
So does that mean that you're not going to be able to meet as much demand as you have initially?
I think it's nicely balanced. I think we can meet that demand. Initially, it's going to take us a little while to get through those pre-orders. But remember, we're going to, as we grow our volume, we'll be bringing in successively more attainable versions of Lucid Air. So that will just balance the demand and our ability to manufacture. So remember, we start with the amazing Dream Edition, which this is not a virtual studio, not a virtual background I'm in here. I'm actually in our Beverly Hills flagship studio. And behind me, this golden car is an example of our Dream Edition. We're starting with that in spring of 21, and then hot on the heels of that, bringing in the Grand Touring car at $139,000. After that, late next year, Touring at $95,000, and early 22, the car we're all waiting for. That's the Air Pure, or if you like, the Pure Air, the Pure version, the mainstay of the range, and that will be under $70,000 with the federal tax credit.
Now, you've said you're going to announce your international expansion plans. What are those plans? Your biggest backer is the Saudi Public Wealth Fund. Will we see you build a factory in the Middle East?
We've got great plans that we're putting together right now, and we hope to be in a position to make a formal announcement early next year of what those plans are. We want to do something really meaningful for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we're going to really be a catalyst in their transition from fossil fuel dependency. And I think that is just a major step that a country which is so renowned for its fossil fuel-based economy is going to make this bold step to renewable energy and renewable transportation. And then later, we have plans for a plant in China.
Interesting. Plans in China as well. A factory of the
Indeed.
same size?
Indeed. But our
Now,
gold
I want to
standard
talk to you. Okay.
Arizona. I would always say that Arizona is our sort of spiritual heartland, and our gold standard factory will be Arizona, and all the processes that we perfect there then can be cascaded out to plants elsewhere in the world.
Now, last quick questions. EV stocks have been on a tear. Do you feel that we are in an EV stock bubble, and how is that impacting your plans to go public?
Well, I think we have to be very careful how we view this. With following on the success of Tesla, there's been a whole phalanx of EV startups, many in the West Coast. And what I see is a lot of startups, a lot of them going public. I don't see technology. Cut us to the core. Lucid is a tech company. We have world best, world leading technology. And it's always been our plan to go public at some time. So please watch this space.